2018 may have been the season of rain and humidity and lots of heat, but it also has produced some beautiful gardens, and we are going to have the pleasure to look at some of those as we celebrate the 2018 Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk. I'm Susie Ratcliffe, and it is a pleasure to be able to peek inside some of the gardens of the best here in Garden City. Thanks as always to the Garden City Garden Club for putting this very exciting event on, and also an opportunity for people that have worked very hard to showcase the fruits of their labor, or the flowers of their labor in this case. We've got a lot to show you, and let's get started. Stay with us. Welcome. We are on Box Street at the lovely backyard of Pastor Wayne Parker and his lovely wife Cindy, and we are looking forward to an opportunity to learn more about what they have to offer with their garden. First of all, you two, congratulations on being in this year's 2018 Garden City Garden Club Garden Walk. It's a mouthful, but boy, well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It was fun to meet a lot of the Garden Club members and to have people to chat with when they came through on the walk.
Now, I know weather might not have been the greatest, but boy, everything looks green and lush and really beautiful right now. I know it's a group effort, right? So tell us a little bit about the philosophy before we take a really deep look into your garden.
Well, the philosophy was tame the wild. I mean, this was a crazy jungle back here when we first started 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And so every little place where we have flowers was just weeds. And so it was a lot of time of getting some things established, and perennials. I love perennials, and so putting some perennials in places. But this is a lot of shade here too. So it was a lot of trial and error, finding things that worked, that would grow. And those things, we would try to encourage those things to grow. We have a big maple tree that kills a lot of things.
Oh no, that wasn't the maple tree.
Oh no, not a maple. It's a walnut.
Walnut tree.
It's a walnut tree, and
we like maples.
Yes, yeah. Maple is different. Yeah. The walnut was it was a challenge. So lots of shade. We don't have a lot of sun, so it was a lot of experimenting. But I think we've kind of figured it out finally.
It's very obvious that you have. When we talk about different styles of gardens, you mentioned perennials. I know sometimes people like to put a little pop of color with some annuals and then incorporate other things. I sort of call it the multimedia garden, and that's the things like the ponds and the shimmery little globes and stuff. We're going to see a little bit of all of that today, so we're very excited to look. So why don't we start walking, and we can talk a little bit along the way, okay? Good. So heading over to the pond area now, and there's just nothing like that sort of cascading, lovely, serene sound. Oh, listen to the chimes as well. This is just fantastic. So we'll head over around here, a little closer to the fishies, so we can kind of see them. And tell us a little bit about the story behind the pond.
Sure. Well, Cindy said we were taming the wild, and that's because when we moved to Garden City, we had 5 kids. Several of them were teenagers. We were looking for a larger house and couldn't really find one at the time, so we ended up finding this as a vacant lot, and so we built the house. And there was a little chunk of cement. I thought it was a little chunk of cement back here. And so one morning, early in the morning, I decided I was going to try to dig it out. I started to dig, and I dug more, found out it wasn't a little chunk of cement, it was a foundation. And so by the time I had unearthed it, I had a big hole. And so I just decided, well, you know, I always wanted to have a pond, so I got a hole now. So we just took the material that I dug out, made the mound for the river, and then lined it, and over the years just kind of keep adding some features, stone features to the pond, and it's just it makes a lovely retreat. I like to sit back here and listen to the water and read and study, and so yeah, it really adds a lot to the garden.
Your ducks are probably the most well-tamed ducks I have ever experienced in my entire life. No, that's fantastic. But we do have the fish underneath. How do you manage keeping them, and do you leave them in year-round, or how does that work?
Well, they've had different times. It's worked for winter time. Other times they haven't made it through the winter. We put a bubbler in, and it doesn't freeze to the bottom. So a lot of times the fish will make it year after year. A few years we have had fish, and they'll get big. You know, of course they're just goldfish. They're not expensive fish, you know, but they have babies. So we have little goldfish in there right now, and hopefully, if we do it right for the winter, they'll last through the winter, and we'll have fish next year.
Nice, nice. I noticed the ferns, I noticed that you've got the waterfall, and again, making that sort of that staircase of water out of what already existed here is really cool. I know some people have to go out and buy all those items and then put them all together, but while this can be very expensive, it can also be a labor of love, and it sounds like that's what it has been for you.
Well, it has, and everybody who came through on the walk kept asking questions about how much work it was, feeling like it was just too much work to do, and in reality, for us, it's not. I mean, we clean it out maybe twice a season. The biggest thing will be in the fall, making sure you get the leaves out. So that they're not left in for the winter. That will kill the fish. But other than that, it's really not a hard thing. We enjoy it.
And so well worth it, goodness. I see you've got some baskets and some pots around to bring in some of those pops of color, as we've talked about, but a lot of ferns. What's your thing with the ferns? They're gorgeous. It's almost tropical looking.
I brought those from up north. I told you I grew up in Roscommon at a camp up in Roscommon, and there's ferns all over the place up there. And I just brought a couple little plantings of some ferns that I picked up around by the lake there, and they have just multiplied. So I've put them over on the other side of the garden, and now they're on the other side of the fence. And actually, they're almost getting over what I wanted. So I think I'm going to be passing out some ferns next spring and try to thin them out, because they do grow like crazy, and maybe they love the water. That it just something's just right for them, because they go great.
That's an exciting part about cultivating a garden, is that you get that trial and error, but at the same time those little pleasant surprises. And we love receiving things from gardens that have been doing really, really well, and that's a part of the philosophy of the garden club itself. Absolutely. And I know you know that. Have you been an official member now, or are you working on it still?
For a week I've been a member. I've been meaning to join for several years. I've have some friends that have asked me about joining and bugging me about getting on the garden walk because of the backyard and stuff, and so I have been meaning to, but we have always had weddings or receptions or things going on in our summers. This summer we have no weddings, no receptions, no open houses, no showers. So we said we'd be on the garden club, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot and asking questions and sharing plants back and forth. So I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, they're doing their job by recruiting the right people. That's fantastic. Let's keep walking. I think I see a beautiful start of a fairy garden over here. And boy, what a wonderful thing for young and old alike, right?
Yes.
So with the fairy garden, that can be something that people have left out for a long time. Sometimes it's seasonal.
Probably started it a couple years ago. I think the fairy garden, we just started with a couple pieces. And the one in the, we thought it was going to be a hobbit garden at first, and then we kind of added some other things, and I didn't want it to be something that the grandkids couldn't touch. So I don't really, they come in and they move things around and they play with the things, and I want it to be that. I don't want it to be something where, don't touch, And so a few things have got broke, and that's okay, but I think the more battle that we have is with the birds. The robins come in and destroy it every day.
Well, we have a overabundance of robins right now. They probably had about 4 families that had multiple babies, and so yeah, you can look out here and see 30 or 40 robins in the yard. And they know she had a really good crop of moss. If you see throughout that, they know that's easy pickings. They can get under that moss. And so what's funny about it though is we'll find the stones, we'll find figurines halfway across the yard. It's like, you don't have to move them that far, but they seem to. But the reality is, this is her part of the garden. This is Cindy's. I don't mess with this much, but she comes over here and messes with it quite a bit. So she gets upset when those robins have been in her garden.
Not that I blame her, but no, it's just beautiful. And sort of that concept of serenity and peace. These are little intricate things, but the ability to just kind of relax and focus and just take it all in, that's sort of what makes you stop and appreciate, stop and smell the flowers, if you will. That really seems to support that concept.
It does. And you know, of course, I got this owl thinking it was going to keep the squirrels and the robins away, and they just dig right up underneath it. So
they land right on his little bobblehead, huh?
They peck at it. I don't know, but that certainly hasn't scared them away.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, your yard goes very far back, and as we kind of continue to look back there, and we'll walk this way just a little bit, it seems as if you've sort of carved out little components in every aspect. So we can stand in the middle of this, which probably was once used for a lot of sports and things, but now it is just lush. It's green. It's beautiful. And I see you've got some mulch. You've got some of like the fire pit, and you've got the green trees that are going to get bigger and bigger, which is always lovely. Do you plan to continue to expand as you go, or did you say we're stopping at the climbing wall? Right?
No, I don't think we're going to ever say that. We'll continue to work at it, and you know, dress up the edges and the sides as we go. We've talked about for quite some time just extending both that berm and building this up back into the yard a little bit to just kind of have a more central garden, and then have a more play area off that way. But I don't know. This did serve as a good football field as the kids, volleyball,
soccer, football.
Yeah. So we hate to lose that. That's fun.
Oh, I don't blame you. And I have talked to people that were on the garden walk 20 years ago and then again now, and the growth and the change, the evolution of the garden really is, it's a personal thing, it's a deep thing. Some years you might feel like, yeah, we're going to go. Other years, like you said, less busy or busier, so you're going to adjust that. But if you could think of sort of one bit of advice or sort of point to share with someone that is just starting out, just thinking, I've got some space, I really want to get a little serenity in my yard, I want a little bit of a place to relax and just appreciate nature, what kind of advice might you share?
Well, for me, it was finding the flowers or the perennials that were going to grow and do well in an area, and I had to do some research. You know, I did have a lot of trial and error, and that was a little disappointing sometimes, you know, when you plant something in the ground and it doesn't go well, you know, and you just feel like, oh, I wasted money or time, but actually you learn from that. And so just being able to start small, you know, find something and talk to people, talk to people on the garden club, because they're the best resource, and be able to find something that's going to work where you have, and just look around, make sure you have sun, you know, do you have, you know, what you're working with, and I think that will help you to be a success as a gardener.
Right. So go in smart, but plan to do your research.
And don't go big.
and don't be afraid to ask for people's plantings. You know, in the spring, most people have to split up their things anyways, and they don't want to throw it away. They'd much prefer to give it to somebody. So if you're starting out, you know, in the spring, who do you know? You know, who, and don't be afraid to ask them, because if they're a true gardener, they work their garden, they're going to have to break things up, and they'd be glad to give it to you.
Great advice.
That's where we got a lot. I mean, a lot of this was started from things that people gave me. So.
Well, you've put your touches on it, that's for sure, and it looks beautiful. Congratulations again on being in the Garden Walk this year. Bach Street has not looked prettier in a very long time. We have Pastor Wayne and Cindy Parker. Keep up the good work, and good luck with those garden club meetings. I understand they're a blast.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Good. We've got more on the way. Stay with us. We're in the beautiful backyard of Geneva Livermore here on Henry Ruff Street in Garden City as we celebrate all things gardens for the 2018 Garden Walk, sponsored by the Garden City Garden Club. We are looking forward to learning more about your garden, Geneva, but first of all, let me say, very comfortable swing, and also congratulations on making it into the Garden Walk this year.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. At first I thought, oh my goodness, and then whenever it started to all come together, it was such a pleasure to have people come and see my different flowers. So it was nice.
What is it about this garden? And it is very expansive. It's a lovely size yard, and you've got so much color and so much variety from what we can see now, and we're going to see more. What is it about this garden that you think is so very special?
Well, it's got a lot of things from people that have given me things, but all the rocks that you're going to see were collected up north. And when I moved from here in Township here, my oldest son put all the rocks in to a truck and brought them here, and we placed them all around. And my youngest son brought me a rock from Kentucky that's the size of a glove, and it looks like a Michigan glove.
Oh.
So yeah, so my yard is very special, but a lot of the flowers have been given to me from friends. So.
That seems to be a theme this year. Share, and share the love, share the sprouts, and let it grow.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. My wisteria, I gave a lot of seeds to people and a lot of the clippings because people can't believe that that's that huge and still flowering. Yeah. So I'm glad that I was able to do that.
Well, we look forward to seeing that and so much more. Tell me a little bit about your evolution of this garden. You've been here for how many years in the house?
18 years.
Okay.
I moved here 18 years ago this month, July. Well, I moved from Huron, which was about 3 times as big as this house here. So it was kind of an adjustment, and I had 7 acres out there. But my yard out there was also really nice, but it wasn't this contained. I didn't have this many flowers. This yard I can enjoy because it's not so huge. Yeah.
I get it. In terms of your ratio between the flowers that come back every year and the shrubs and things that you just need to prune and give that love to that will keep coming back, and the ones that you bring in every year, the difference between the perennials and the annuals, about how much would you say percentage would be the stuff that keeps coming back versus the stuff that you bring in for color?
I've got a lot of things that come back. You can see the perennials that are in bloom right now, but I don't have that many that are now in bloom because the annuals are the ones that are the showy ones right now. But my annuals, when they're in bloom, it's gorgeous because right over there, and you'll see it when you turn, right over there when they're in full bloom, the lilies and everything are just gorgeous.
Well, let's go this way, Geneva. And as we're walking through, I'm seeing a nice variety of not only beautiful colored flowers, but I'm loving the purples and the blues as it relates to all of the extras, the glass, the globe, and the water fountain, and so on. And then we move over and we have sort of a different approach in this section. Do you kind of like to do themes as you go through?
When I see something I like, I just buy it, and I don't really have a theme. And you'll see in one area it's Southern, another area it's Indian, another area it just bounces around. So, but this area here is just the last 2 years we worked on this and got it fixed, and this is my comfort area.
As we continue to walk through, I see again you've got evergreens, you've got little bushes, you've got all these beautiful rocks, and make sure you point out the glove rock when you see it. We'll get it over there in a minute. Okay, but so tell us a little bit about what you've got going on over here.
Well, I've got flowers in here. That is a lily. Okay. It won't come to me.
That happens all the time. Yeah, this one right here?
Yes.
We'll identify it and we'll figure it out later.
Yes, that one is nice because it bloomed this year for the first time. I planted it 2 years ago. And this one over here, again, I don't know my flowers, but that one blooms in the early spring, and it is like honeysuckles out here. The smells, I'm going for a garden that has a lot of smell that is nice and sweet. And I try not to use any poisons. So, yeah.
Is that why all the butterflies are over here?
I hope so.
They seem to like that too, I think.
I hope so,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Great. Let's cross over. And oh goodness, how beautiful is this? Some people would call this, in fact, a rock garden. So you've got not only the beautiful rocks, but you've got all of the little accents as you come through, which is lovely. Tell us a little bit about why you've selected some of these things. Why don't you come on over on this side, and then we'll talk to you from here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now this tree here is a red bud. And out in Huron, they're right by the park area, and they're purple, and they're gorgeous. I mean, they're just cascading. So I had to have one here in my house.
Nice.
And this is 2 years old, so I'm hoping it blooms next year.
Okay.
And my son bought me this white pine when I built a pond in here, and I had to take it out. But the white pine here is one of my favorite because when he first planted it, it looked like a praying mantis. And as it keeps growing, it's getting a great big old tail on it, and I like that.
I see a woolly mammoth or maybe an elephant with a trunk, and I bet if I stood out here long, I would see every little different thing. Yeah, how creative. Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
What about the layering? You've got the things higher up, and you've got the, what do you call that, the shale or the
This is
the ledge
sandstone.
rock,
Yeah, this is
sandstone, good.
Yeah, and that was part of my pond. So whenever I got rid of the pond, I just started laying it out. I didn't really have a pattern figured out that I was going to do. I just started doing it, and that's how it turned out. I never draw anything out. I just start putting things down, and it just works.
Well, while we're walking, and remember to point out that particular rock for us. How long every day, roughly? Yeah, I know you said you're retired. How long would you say you have to put into a garden to make it look this beautiful?
This year I put in a lot of time because I reworked some of the pavers and that. But as far as weeding and that, I put down a lot of mulch, so my weeding isn't that bad. I take more time pruning things than what I do in weeding. And this is the rock over here that is in the shape of the glove. A part of it broke whenever we moved, so you don't get the thumb, but that's from Kentucky.
We lost the thumb, huh? Well,
thumb.
that's okay. No, that's beautiful. In terms of how big you want to continue to go, because some of these things they're getting big, but I know it's been a nice rainy season, so that's been helping.
Yes.
But what do you see as your vision for the future as you continue to work through this?
Back there, I put in that little bit of a garden back there, but in that very back corner, I've started buying perennials to plant back there, and I'm hoping to do that whole back corner.
So you want to keep it going?
Next year. I'm not going to do it this year.
Okay.
But yeah.
Nice.
And transplant some of these here because they're too crowded.
Okay. Yeah, this is lovely. This is a nice, a nice kind of a walkway. What an entrance to your backyard. Very pretty. You're very welcome. Any particular favorite over on this side that you would like to point out?
Yes, right here. Okay. In the spring, well, you can see it's got this has little white flowers on it. I don't know the name of it again, but it smells like magnolias. And it reminds me of the South.
Nice.
Yeah.
I notice you have a lot of sort of nudges to home and to your past, so you can kind of keep that going, keep it alive.
Yes, yes, I do. And this flower right here draws butterflies. I don't know. I saw a couple of monarchs on here the other day, and I went, yay.
I think I know that one. I think that's a spirea.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's
don't know.
that's what I'm going to call it right now.
I have
Let's
no idea.
let's keep walking through, and I just can't wait to see this beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful pergola, and I love the sign, welcome to the simple life. This is fantastic. Why don't you come on up here? And I think Shadow's welcoming us here as well, but I feel like I'm in a garden oasis. Oh my gosh. Geneva, tell us about this work of art. This must have just been the hit of your yard at the garden walk.
Oh, way it was. People were getting their pictures taken in front of it. My son put the deck in for me. I did the pavers, and he built the pergola for me. Planted the wisteria about 15 years ago. So it's about 15 years old, and it trained itself. I did nothing, but you can see it just kind of curls itself up, and it's just pretty. Wow. Everybody loves this. Wow. Yeah.
So the wisteria was here first.
No,
the pergola was here first, and so then you
a little about this
oh my goodness.
And this is what it's turned
And
into.
this is what it did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just a little slice
It's
of heaven. Oh my
smells
goodness.
so nice. Early in the morning, sit out here, have a cup of coffee, and it just smells so nice. Yeah.
Well, we can't recreate the coffee, but let's have a seat,
Okay,
shall we?
well.
This is just spectacular. We are so excited to have had the chance to peek into your garden today, and I know it is an undertaking. Do you like to do most of this on your own, and do you do it in the mornings? Is it sort of a little therapy kind of a thing for you?
Not really a therapy. I've always enjoyed gardening. I do it early in the morning, about 7 o'clock to about 9, and then the sun comes out, I go in. And then later on in the evening, I'll come out if I feel like it and work in the yard. Wow. And but this, I just moved off of my porch a couple of weeks ago and put it under here because I want to be able to have my swing under here.
Well, and it was just the smartest decision you've ever made, I'll tell you. We are living the good life here, aren't we, Geneva? I could get used to this, goodness. So we want to especially thank you again for letting us pop back here, and congratulations again with the garden walk. Thank you for being willing to share, and that's always nice. People appreciate that. That lets it continue to, expand and grow.
Yes, I was very pleased with how it went this year. I said, I'm going to do this next. I'm going to go on the walk next year.
Wonderful.
Because, everybody puts in a lot of work in their yards, and you don't realize it until you get into their backyard, and then you see how much time and effort they put into it. And, so it's nice to share that with other people.
Yeah. It's a beautiful community and a very active garden club, and this is the kind of thing that they want to spotlight and showcase. So we're very grateful that you let us do that today. We're enjoying Henry Ruff Street, the backyard here at Geneva Livermore's home, and we are excited to continue to share some things with you, but also to maybe just sit here for a few minutes and enjoy the view, right? Thank you, Geneva. We've got more on the way. Stay with us. Welcome. We are back on Bach with Paula Peck. I like all those little words there. We are enjoying a beautiful garden at the Garden Walk 2018. And Paula, we are so excited that you've allowed us to come in and look at all the little intricacies that we're going to enjoy. This is a very different and unique garden. They all have their own special thing, special personality, but attention to detail is the key, I think, at yours. Tell us a little bit about your garden.
Well, this is the fairy garden, I call it, and that. And I've been doing fairy gardens for about 5 years. And I have my teapot collection and everything like that. And then I have a memorial. My brother just passed away a year ago. So we have a little spot that's his chair and a sign out there for him. But I've been doing fairy gardens because I have grandkids. And I gave them each a wagon to do a garden in and everything. So
I noticed just behind us there's a tree with some different ornaments on it.
right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I actually found that at a garage sale. And I says, that's my fairy tree. So we took little trinkets and put on it, and then the unicorn on top.
Surrounded by the geraniums there?
Right, right. You know, all the cactuses and that are through my niece-in-law, who also lives here. So she's the one that helped me redo the whole front of their house. And back here, I don't have the power anymore. I got the ideas. It's just
right. You're the brains of the operation, right?
Right.
Well, let's walk this way just a little bit, Paul, if we can. And you mentioned your teapot garden. That is
Right.
just
The fairy
just
garden.
interesting,
Yeah.
yes. And then how lovely to have a memorial.
Yeah.
Condolences for
Right.
the loss of your brother, but what a nice way for to remember him and to be out here and enjoy the beauty of nature. As we continue to walk through, you have packed an awful lot into a small spot. That's
Right.
incredible. I think some people are intimidated sometimes, like, I don't have enough space to do anything creative. Well, boy, you have beat that myth, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Why don't we come over here and we can
this is my
take a look.
biggest fairy garden.
Okay.
It's the gnome garden, and my
Great.
grandkids love it.
All
They
right,
get
yeah,
to
why don't we
play with
turn
that.
this way?
You know,
We'll let the camera
So,
take a peek at all that.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
it just gnomes. My brother who passed away, he loved gnomes, so he helped me put it. You know, buy the little things and stuff. And through the years, been doing it for about 5 years with him, and we build it and put it out here every summer. So it gave him something to play with, and that. You know.
And your garden, while very colorful, is nicely contained. It
Right.
seems like it's going to be one of those types that's manageable. You don't have to go crazy
Right.
with every minute of every day,
No,
but you
no.
still have a lot of nature and a lot of
Right.
beauty. How has the season been for you?
Hot. Like I said, if it wasn't for Cat, things wouldn't have been done. When I moved in here, I just bought 3 plants that were all ready together because I thought I can't build a garden. And then when Kat and Paul moved in, she's a gardener too, and she just helped me create this. I had the ideas, I just didn't have the physical power anymore to do it. So
Well,
Yeah.
it takes sometimes a nice group effort, right? And
Right.
clearly these are beautiful results
Right.
of a group effort. I know that there's a whole thing in the back of this yard that we want to make sure we
Oh,
see,
right.
and that's where we're going to sort of
next.
lay the blame on your brother for that
Yeah.
beauty. So we're going to head back there in just a
Okay.
minute. But Paula, thank you for showing us this beautiful window into your personality, and congratulations on being on the Garden Walk.
Oh, thank you. And this right here is for my husband. He's downstairs,
okay.
and we had this in our other gardens, and we were able to bring it and put it up for him too. He's a retired serviceman, 20-some years in the service. So
What a nice honor for him as well. Well, we're going to head back and we're going to talk to Sam in just a moment and continue to enjoy this lovely yard. Stay with us.
okay. Yeah.
It's almost like we get 2 for the price of 1 in this beautiful, beautiful home on Bach Street. Sam Morrison is responsible for this lovely, lovely Veterans Memorial and owner of this property. Tell us a little bit about this, Sam. It's a little different than the fairy gardens and the teapots and things, but what a tribute! This is incredible.
Well, it all began in 2002, June of 2002. I purchased the large flagpole. Began flying the American flag, the Marine Corps, and the POW MIA flags. Over the years then, I had a sign made up, big sign over there. I had that made up by a sign shop here in Garden City. And then my neighbor put together the other one, the smaller one over here. It represents all the branches of the military. Then this past few months, while I was in Las Vegas, my wife purchased the other 2 flagpoles. So I had, put those in, and I bought the flags. Now I can represent all 5 of the branches with flags also. So, and it progressed over time. The plants are all my sister Paula. That's all her bailiwick. I'm not into plants, but so it just progressed over time.
I sense you might not be into plants, but boy, you're into eagles,
Well,
because he's taller than you. Yeah, tell us a little bit about this guy.
Yeah, that eagle was over on Marquette. It's been a landmark in Garden City for years, even when I was still
That looked
working.
familiar, yeah.
It's over Marquette and Brant. The individual that had it was losing his home. He was going to leave it, so I was, I paid him for the eagle, and then obviously brought it here and had it cleaned up. It had insect damage, that kind of stuff. My neighbor fixed it, and then my nephew painted it to bring it back to the original colors.
Well, it's not only profound, but it's kind of awe-inspiring, especially with the flags in the background and everything. Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Do you get to do you bring any others back here to experience this
Anybody
sometime?
who wants to see it, I'll bring them back. That's not a problem. Anybody's welcome to come back and look at it. In fact, the guy that had the eagle used to come here. He just recently passed away, but he used to come over here, every now and then on his bicycle to see his eagle. So, incredible. Oh yeah.
Well, this is certainly an original component of a garden, but one that really sort of not only brings it all home, but ties in the green, the red, the white, the blue, and everything else. So
for all the veterans.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, we're very thankful that we got to take a peek at this today, and continued success. Keep it up, as the sign says, veterans past, present, and future, and that's what it's about. So we appreciate your honoring our servicemen and women, of course.
Oh, women too.
You got it.
Well, when I was in, that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
but I was in.
Times have changed a little.
Oh yeah,
huh?
early 60s, women weren't too involved in the military, but.
Well, it's obvious that there's a lot of pride in this, and that's something that doesn't change, I think, being a service person. So we wish you continued success and congratulations.
I appreciate you coming out to see it.
Thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you.
We've got more on the way. We're at the home of Judy Lauren on Windsor Street in Garden City. Judy is one of the wonderful exhibited homes and homeowners at this year's Garden Walk. And although the weather is a little inclement, the lawn, the gardens, it all looks gorgeous. Judy, congratulations on being in the walk.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good. You've got so much to show, so much to look at. We're loving the purple, but we're going to kind of walk our way through a little bit quickly, but we're going to let the pictures do most of the talking today. But as we start our beautiful view of your home and your gardens, what's your philosophy? What's your theme? What do you got going on here?
Everything in my yard has come from somebody, has a memory, the plants, friends, family, and it's a happy garden for me. Even the shrine that I have for my mother that passed away, the plants were given to me. And then my husband passed away a little over a year ago, and thanks to the Garden City Fire Department, I had a little thing made up to for their appreciation.
To honor him and
honor,
for others
yes,
to
yes.
kind of keep his energy going,
Right.
and nothing like live plants, live flowers, things
Right.
that will continue to come back year after year. That's comforting, isn't it?
Right, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I relate to that. I know I've got a little something going on myself in that situation, and it's a beautiful opportunity to honor and commemorate the great life of someone that you loved.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to see a little more of that as we go through too, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I love this. There's a lot of thought in this garden. It's not just beautiful colors. Speaking of thought, though, holy smokes!
Well,
Somebody's had some fun with this one.
My friends put this together. I was going to make little lights and a lamp out of it, but they thought it would be cute hanging from this tree, so I guess we're calling this my fireball tree.
Love it.
Fun one.
Very good. That is fun. You are incorporating not only lots of color and lots of greenery, which to me is the easier, safer kind of thing to do, but you've also got all these lawn ornaments and things. Do you kind of start fresh every year, or do you build and build and build?
The fairy back there, the angel, Norm that won 2 years ago for the fairy garden, he gave me that. So I named her Norma. He's got the other one, so I've got Norma, and I don't know what he calls his.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all from a long time ago.
Wow, very nice. How long have you been nurturing this garden?
20 years.
Okay.
That's when we moved in here, so
I see. Okay.
a little bit every year.
Yeah. Well, let's keep walking.
Okay.
Have you done any dramatic changing this time around? Anything that you've added or altered really big, or just kind of keeping it as
Keeping
it is?
it as is, other than I've had to cut down some lilac trees, but I'll find something to put in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's keep walking.
Okay.
This is so welcoming. You have not only signs that say welcome, but you've got little furry pets that are just cozy and relaxed. And I'm noticing again that everything is very contained. You've got the beautiful beds with the rocks, and you're using some mulch as well. Has this evolved bigger and bigger and bigger over the years?
It has on the back,
Okay.
but this main thing is when we started building the porch, when Dave built the porch on, and then he split all these rocks by hand, but now they have to be redone, but I don't think he wants me to do it. I'll just leave them and do what I can, so.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Vegetables. I think I'm seeing some tomatoes up here. Gotta have a little
that's for my
something.
niece.
Okay.
She is, I let her have, no, she wanted to have like a little garden, make salsa. So those are Roma tomatoes that she can make salsa out of. So to make it fun for her. Now, mind you, she's in her 30s. She's not a little niece, so that's her farming right there.
I love it. I love it. It's my kind of farming. As we continue to walk through, boy, what a switch here. I'm seeing the orange and the black, which to me is West High School. Not going to get into that, but what is this for you over here?
This is a manly fairy garden for motorcycles. There's primary cover and like some.
Oh yeah, let's stop here and take a look.
Here. We also have a boar's head, and when we have the pig roast at the American Legion, I always get the skull, and then I end up incorporating it into my garden. Sometimes the dogs take off with it, but
wow.
I'll chase them down the street.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. I'm hearing a little sort of tinkling of sounds. You've got some chimes and things
Yes,
going.
I do.
Beautiful.
It's just a very relaxing atmosphere for me.
Yeah.
So.
As we continue to walk back, and you've got not only a beautiful front porch, but a beautiful back porch here, and I'm guessing you enjoy it. You use this garden, and as you said, relaxing for relaxing purposes.
Yes.
Do you get people to come out and relax with you?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Sometimes too many. No, we always have people over and relaxing and having a fire and just enjoying everything.
Very nice. Let's keep walking our way around the back here. I love hammocks, and this is like a hammock swing kind of a thing that we're going to see in a minute.
And I sit there quite a bit with my little maybe glass of wine and just swing and decide where I'm going to move stuff and rearrange stuff.
Quite a tree you've got here too.
Oh,
Goodness.
We can figure this out. We've had, I'm not going to mention names, but a lot of people that are in the nurseries, and there's like 3 different kinds of leaves. So we said we're going to have a contest to see who can guess what kind of tree it is, but I don't know.
I like it. The challenge is on, Garden City. Let's see if we can figure this out. I'll call it a hybrid for now, right?
Right.
Yeah, that works. Okay. And as we make our way around the back of your yard, let's keep going here. Judy, when we talk about incorporating annuals into a lush and a vibrant garden, that really is for those pops of color, and you've got a good amount of that going too. Do you have a certain style that you go for, recommendation on a plant that might be a little hardier, or what works for you?
I play with them and put them in especially the perennials. Might have to be moved to a different area.
Sure.
And then I find out the hard way that those yellow flowers there can't stand the sun. So I find out the hard way, and now they're half dead. But no, I've put them in places where they're happy, and that works for me.
Nice. Well, happy, I think, is the operative word here. And as we walk back to see, again, so many of the little intricacies of your special garden here on Windsor Street, it really does seem like, for a number of reasons, this garden makes you happy. And really, isn't that what it's all about?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Tell us about some of the pieces back here.
Well, this was given to me. It's a breast cancer survivor house. And my very best friend gave it to me. Took it from her brother-in-law. He doesn't know it's gone, but when he saw the picture, he thought that was great. And then I have an old rural mailbox from my sister in Taylor, and that's what they used to get their mail out of, the big thing there. And most of these are glow in the dark. I love cats. So the little fairy houses, fairy garden things have lights on them. And the little footsteps is from my grandson in honor of his grandpa. So, very nice.
I think there's a lot of pride that shows in this particular garden, and whatever your inspiration, you know, whatever the inspiration of a gardener is, that's what you channel into, and that's what helps make it so not only beautiful but personal and special, and clearly this has been the case. So we're so excited that you have been able to showcase this year. How has that been?
To be able to do that, it's just been wonderful. So yeah. Very honored, and I love all the women in the garden walk. I got to see gardens and houses that you would never believe their backyards would be as beautiful as they are. So
clearly this is no exception to that. So we're so thankful, and congratulations to you as well. Really appreciate this, and continue to enjoy your garden and keep up the strength. It's inspiring, it really is.
Thank you so much.
Stay with us, we've got more to come. The City of Gardens did not disappoint in 2018. Hope you enjoyed this year's edition of the Garden Walk for Garden City, and we hope that you've been inspired perhaps to try something new, share something from your garden, or ask a neighbor to try a little of what they've got going on in the back of their yard. That's how we spread the love and spread the gardens. If you'd like more information about the Garden City Garden Club, you can simply go to their website. It's gcgc.weebly.com. Simple as that. Or they meet the third Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock. Summer season, they meet at different homes of members of the Garden Club, and during the fall and winter, they meet at the Maplewood Center. So there's so much information out there. You don't have to do this on your own, and if you've never tried it before, be inspired. Let this year's wonderful Garden Club winners be an inspiration to you. I know they have been for me. So we thank you for watching today. Continued great gardens in Garden City, and don't forget to water. I'm Susie Ratcliffe. See you soon.